there's something about magnet therapy. Can you tell me a little bit
Well,
about magnet?
I
You
haven't got
believe
in
in
my
it?
shoes at the minute.
Yeah.
I don't know that much. I've done it and I've experienced it, but I'll give you a very small example of how I think it works. I've done some magnet therapy.
Right.
I have it in my insoles, not in this shoe, but I do normally wear it. When blood cells clump together, like chawannis one on top of the other, 10 paise one on top of it, it's called a rouleau formation. So if the coins are stuck like that and they are hot, what would you do? You'd spread them out.
Right.
If halwa is hot, you cut it into pieces like barfi shape.
Right.
And you also know that children suffer hypothermia and die quicker than us.
Right.
Because the surface area is more proportionately. If I'm 70 kilos and the child is 7 kilos, but there are 7 discrete children, so there's a lot of skin. So if you can make these red cells split up and not be stuck together, you have better oxygen change, you will accept that.
Absolutely.
They've done experiments and found that if there is magnet anywhere, it charges the iron in the hemoglobin and therefore it is about 5 or 6 times more split up. If it is more split up, then less cells will do the same work. So imagine that you've got 20 trucks going from London to Newcastle taking your goods with slow, dull, lazy, boring drivers. And imagine you put a big engine and you still got the same number, but they're working efficiently.
Right.
Like the Indian Railways.
Right. So do you think it can help cancer patients? Because I have a friend who has a kidney removed and all that.
Right.
And I just said, he said, I believe in it. So I said, why don't you try it? Yeah. And his insole used to be coming out. He said, look, because if you have started wearing the shoes. I said, it does help. Just if you think it will help you, then it will.
Well, at the highest level, you get what you get. What the mind represses, the body expresses. Cancer. Let me start at the beginning. In the time we've talked, you kill at least 5,000-10,000 cancer cells. You have, I have.
Really?
So cancer cells are weak, naughty cells that are in the body when the body's oxidative state is high. It's like a window, metal window, not painted. It will get rusty. Okay? So in every minute, every human, on average, kills 70 cancer cells.
But why don't doctors tell everyone this?
If everyone's healthy, what job will we have? Who will pay our mortgage? Who will pay for our children going to posh schools? I tell them. I'm telling you now. So 500 million cells are changed every day, out of which I believe, I haven't got the maths here, 1 million are cancer cells in 24 hours. तो उसका कितना second करके जोड़िएगा, तो every minute, every human kills 70 cancer cells. So if you improve your diet, if you improve your mental status, and I'm not saying do heart math, go to Vaishnav Devi if that makes you happy, go on a Hajj, get rid of your enemies, but I don't mean kill them, I mean forgive them.
Yeah.
Who are we? I mean if you made a mistake and you shout at me and I judge you, I'm a better person for saying, peace be with you. I won't necessarily go and put my head in the oh culture, you crushed again. But I'll just say, खुश रहो. But all the time we've had this tension, दिखा देंगे उसको, दिखा देंगे. आप किसी को नहीं दिखाएंगे, खुद ही को दिखा रहे हैं.
True.
Why do you think there's so much heart attack? I mean, and cancer and so on in the West. People are miserable. They are unhappy. They are unexpressive.
Then, in my staff room,
Yes.
there have been a number of cancer deaths. And
have you asked the family what happened before the cancer deaths? Breast cancer is
of
common in women who
Yeah.
repress the anger. Heart attacks are common in men who repress the anger. If someone says, "Kya tumne samajh rakha?" that's not good. It harms everybody else. But that is better than getting angry and holding it. I can't name names, but in Tihar jail there was a superintendent.
Yeah.
You heard about
Yeah.
it? And
True.
his heart rate variability was
it
negligible.
Very sad, yes.
But I wrote from England saying this man is waiting for a heart attack, and thankfully somebody noticed. He would have died.
Good.
On the surface, he's a very sweet fellow.
Yeah, very nice chap. Very
You met
nice
him?
chap. Yeah, I met him. Yeah.
And he's out and he's happy.
Right.
Let somebody else do that job.
Right.
So
but it takes a lot of courage to get out of that kind of a...
It takes Gandhiji, if he got a kick on his backside and stayed in South Africa, you and I wouldn't be sitting in England talking.
Right.
We'd be sweeping the roads in London,
Right.
we'd be sitting in Africa.
Right.
So that's what I think. It's to recognize a thing when it comes. And it's to be courageous. Heart math, so what it does is it makes your brain more smart. You know Shivji ki tisri aankh? We've done experiments in Imperial College, and we found when the heart becomes coherent, there's more blood in the brain in the front part. So imagine the brain is the managing board, and this is the chief executive, Shivji ki tisri aankh. And just on that, I'll show you later, that you can see exactly where the blood goes. And if you're worried, tense, the blood supply to the brain goes up. You tell me, do you go to buy a house, find a husband, buy a car when you're angry, jealous? sad, mad, bad.
No. I make sure that I'm very happy when I'm doing
even if you buy a pen.
Yes, for my daughter's wedding when I went shopping, I made it a point that the day it was brighter, and I looked happy. I wanted to shop. Otherwise, I didn't want to go. And I tell all the others the same thing. Do everything for the future. Don't do anything. Sit at home if you're angry and depressed and all. But when you want to do something, pass it on to the future. Do it when you're happy. And just the opposite. Make yourself happy.
Synthetic happiness. We were discussing this before we put the camera on. Synthetic. So when you are happy and your heart is coherent, you breathe in a certain pattern. So I make you breathe in a certain pattern, so your heart is coherent, so your brain becomes happy. People say it's synthetic. Well, what is drama otherwise? 99% of the things.
Therapy is also synthetic.
99 singing?
Yeah, everything that made it. But it makes a difference. We are interested in making the difference.
Somehow, if your brain, what is the difference between us and a dog? The brain, na?
Yeah.
They are smarter than us, they bite harder than us, they run faster than us, and they're not worried.
Right.
So, if you look after the most important part of you, the brain. I mean, I believe there's something above the brain called the mind, and the soul, and the spirit. But let's just talk about physical.
That's very, very high level.
Yes.
At least I'm interested in making the younger India, younger children.
Me too.
Yes, go in a proper direction.
You also came to a school in Bishop Auckland.
Yes.
It's a very poor area.
Yes, and that's what impressed me.
But the children are swamis.
Yes.
The children are better than many adults in India. They're from broken homes, there's that, but they are relaxed. I went to India. I won't name, but I did a Swamiji. He was 60%. And I went to, what's his name? Satyarthi. I went to his camp and there was a child who used to be a child laborer. He was sexually abused. But in 6 months, his meditation was so good, he was better than a Swami.
Right.
And these kind of things inspire me.
And that happens
गंदा
in
छोटा
India.
सा बच्चा जिसको पीट पाट के sexually abuse करके इन लोग ठीक कर दिए, उसकी महिमा ज़्यादा है या कोई स्वामी जी I don't have sex, I don't have wife, I don't have this. आप तो boring आदमी हैं.
That's exactly.
तो कमल grow करता है कीचड़ में. वो बच्चा कीचड़ से होकर कमल बना है. I'm not decrying any Swami ji, लेकिन he's a bigger Swami to me.
Definitely.
He's a bigger source of inspiration.
Definitely. Yeah, I remember my mother telling me it's easier to be a nun than to be what she is.
I
You
remember.
have to look after the family, you have to study, the children, the work. Everything has to go properly.
I talked to a Buddhist monk in Newcastle, near Newcastle, and he said, look, you can walk into a Muslim thing, a Christian thing. I'm wearing this thing.
Yeah, you can't.
I said, don't you get the ego? He says, do you know how we get the ego? In the morning we wake up and the robes are not any individuals. I look for the most torn one. उसका अहंकार है मैं सबसे भटीचर हूँ. So people have egos.
Yeah, we are human. That's what human beings are all about.
But if you recognize your weaknesses, I teach medical students.
That's
and you know
growing up. That's growing up.
Yes.
If you can recognize, then only you can change it. If you don't recognize, how would you change it?
I teach medical students and I rang university and you know my nature by now. I said, excuse me, there's a course on diversity. Why am I not teaching it? I'm brown, you know. And the English, of course, can't handle this blunt statement. So they said, would you like to teach? I said, yes. So what I did was, I took pictures of things that normally irritate people. Like a woman so fat that she doesn't need clothes to hide her shame. Two men kissing each other on the lips. You can look at your face. Chinese person gambling. A Muslim woman with, you can't even see anything. Even the eyes are hidden. Things that people find strange and peculiar. A very thin woman like Twiggy or someone who's almost on a deathbed. I put those pictures and I said 0 is in the middle, plus is I like, double plus I like very much, etc. I gave it to them, barely 1 or 2 said 1 plus. I said, you're all liars. They said, how? We are politically correct. I said, just 1 minute. Close your eyes and I'll give you this English girl I was saying. You're now in Delhi, okay? And you're quite ill. You've got diarrhea and you think you're dying. Because you're quite ill. And all these lovely people who are not your skin color come and say, how are you madam, how are you madam? But inside you're yearning for your mother. A white woman comes in a skirt and straight away your heart feels comfortable. She's from Bulgaria. She's selling ECG machines to the hospital. You say, mere desh ki. You're right. I said, yeah. If you're racist, recognize it. I don't like fat people. I don't tell them, but I tell myself, I have to serve this lady. But that doesn't mean, there are a lot of people I don't like. But I tell myself, come on, grow out of it. Grow out of it. Grow out of it.
Yes.
I mean,
it's true. I think the Buddhists and all those, they must be doing the same thing. They don't have such strong likes and dislikes.